Is this thing a tank? Is it a mower? Snowblower? Yard security? Like, what is this thing? It's got flashing, blinking lights on top, a giant thing out front, antennas, tank tracks. Like, this thing's a beast. Short answer, it's all those things.
Okay, let's go.
Let's dive into what we got here. I'm gonna talk a little about the Yarbo system here. I'm gonna do a series of videos because the Yarbo is big enough and has enough features and enough things that it can do that it's not gonna be able to take one video. My videos are long enough as they are. This would be an hour-long video if I did it all in one. So let's dive in to the Yarbo core and mower and what you can get done with this thing. Yarbo sent me this system, the core, the mower, I've got the snowblower, the leaf blower, the smart assist unit that goes on top of the core, the wireless charging base. They've sent me the entire suite, and I've got the trimmer and pro mower module coming soon as well. But I just want to let you know this was all sent to me for testing purposes. I've received no payment for this. They're getting no insight into what the video is going to be about or anything. They're going to see this right along with you. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what this thing can do. When you order a Yarbo, there's a few different ways to do it, but at its core, because this is the Yarbo core, you buy this, and then you choose the modules you want to add onto it. So when you buy the core, what you're going to get is the main unit. And this thing's a beast. It weighs nearly 100 pounds. The battery itself weighs 20 pounds, which is really nice. Easily replaceable. It's in this door, pops right out, plugs in. Super great setup for that. I love that the battery's replaceable and swappable. You could have a spare battery sitting around if you're trying to mow a whole bunch of property and you don't want to wait around for it to charge. It's a great option. But you get the core, the battery, a physical controller, which is basically like a Xbox controller right here that lets you control the mower itself and the different modules that attach to it. You get a tow hitch. Yes, a tow hitch. Because on the back of this, we can pop this off. Tow hitch slots into it, and the Yarbo core is rated to tow up to 3,500 pounds. That's crazy, right? So you can hook this thing up onto here and use it to drag brush around with. You can hook the trailer up to it and have it follow you around while you pick up sticks in the yard. There's a lot of different things you can do with that. So it's a really impressive thing. I'm surprised that not only the rate and the capacity this thing can do, but they supply the tow hitch for you, and it's a really impressive setup there. So you get that, you get a corded charger that you can plug into the back of it to wirelessly charge it with a wired setup. They do sell a wireless charging pad, which I'll show you pictures of that here in a moment, but it's really impressive. It's truly wireless. So most mowers are wireless charging anyways. They pull up to the dock and they've got metal contacts that connect to it one way or another to transmit the power to charge up your battery. This is completely wireless. There's no charging contacts or anything. This works a lot like our phones do with a wireless charger. Pulls up, uses magnets and GPS coordinates to properly line itself and it charges itself up. Pretty crazy. So you get that, you get the short antennas. These are going to be for your positioning antennas, and this is a communication antenna. You get these, and then you also get a high-rise antennas with it to raise them up a little bit, which is what you're going to do if you decide to use this in snowy conditions, because the snow can get up on here and block some of the signal, so you raise them up a little bit to help with that sort of thing. It comes with standard tracks. They do sell a kit to add tread or add more aggressive grip to this, or you can buy a separate set of tracks that you would use for snow and things like that so it doesn't slip as much. Then on the front, remote right there. On the front, this is the smart assist portion for the core. So what this is basically a set of cameras and some sensors that allow the Yarbo to do some really interesting things. So I was talking about the towing capacity and be able to hook a trailer up and have it follow you around. Yes, the mower, or not the mower, the core will actually follow you around. So you set it up in the app and you say, go to follow mode. So it's going to use these cameras and different sensors to recognize, see you, follow you around the yard, use the sensors to keep its distance and not run into things. So it'll follow you around your yard. It's kind of cool. You can also set it up to have it draw a map around it and have it do a patrol. So whether it's at night or middle of the day or whatever, you can have this thing drive around your yard and watch for animals. Just driving around can deter other critters from coming into your yard and, may confuse anybody who's considering walking into your yard to figure out what the heck it is. So pretty interesting. The lights are super bright. This flashing beacon on top, the lights are on the front. All these are adjustable within the app. You can turn them off if you want, but they're really bright. They're great at nighttime. It helps it see a lot. And you can also kind of make sure you can see where it's going in your yard if you have it mowing at night. Like I said, you've got cameras on the module, but they're also
GPS signal.
It has GPS. But so it's got the cameras on front, it's got cameras around the sides as well. So this thing gives you a 360-degree view of what it's seeing. It's really cool because in the app, they've got a beta feature, it's called Smart Camera Assist, and you can actually see all 4 cameras at once to see what it sees. And you can switch to a control mode, see all 4 cameras, and drive it to where it needs to go. So if this thing gets stuck or sees a pile of grass and it thinks it can't get around it, you can hop in there from wherever you are. As long as this can catch signal and you have signal, you can drive it around and move it where it needs to go. It's really, really cool. On top of that, it's also got ultrasonic sensors around it to help it detect objects around it and distances and things of that nature. So this thing is packed with tons of sensors and technology, and it's super, super impressive. And it's a beast, to say the least. So that is the core unit. Let's hop on over and talk about the mower module. So this is the Yarbo standard mower module. I say standard because, like I mentioned, they did just recently come out with a pro mowing module, which we'll cover later when it shows up. So the standard core module, or standard mower module, is what we got here. They got dual cutting discs down here using the standard typical razor blades. Most all the robot mowers are using these. And they're not designed to cut tall grass. They're designed to cut grass frequently at a conditional standard height. So this will cut anywhere from 1.2 inches to 4 inches. So they're cutting in grass frequently to create little micro clippings, which actually helps to give your yard more nutrients and your lawn more nutrients without killing it off with large clumps of grass. So if you are cutting grass that is over 4 inches, so say your yard's 5 or 6 inches tall, but you want to cut it down to 3, you can set target height, and this will make passes at a highest cut setting and slowly lower it over 3 to 5 mowing sessions to get it under the proper height, so it doesn't cut too much off at once and potentially damage your yard. So it's really, really neat. So you got the dual cutting discs here. Each one is powered by a 300-watt motor. So you've got tons of power. This thing cuts some grass. I love it's got large caster wheels on top that spin around. So when it's attached to this, because it's got tracks, it'll do 0 turn on a dime. It also has smart turn and U-turn, so it can potentially, in areas where if the grass is wet or a little softer ground, a 0 turn will tear up your grass. So this can actually do different turns. And because the wheels on the front of this is properly supported and it spins freely with it, and it's really nice. I'm glad that they made that change or addition to the front of this when they made this. The entire thing is just like the core, built like a tank. You've got a good solid base underneath here. You got guards on the sides to help with grass. Sometimes grass does get caught up in there a little bit if it's a little damp, so be aware of that, but avoid mowing wet grass when you can. It's better for your lawn if you don't. On the front, it has got this really, really heavy duty metal type rake guard here. So this is great for mowing across areas that got dirt or tall grass, anything like that. It helps to kind of knock it down before it gets to the blades. And it helps it also, if it hits that, it knows it's hit something solid and it'll stop and back up. It's got bumper sensors. It's got cameras on this as well. So in addition to the core, this thing is built with tons of tech, even though it's just simply a mower, right? So that's what we got on the front here. We'll lay this thing down and you can see the top side here. So like I said, cameras up here, sensors are on the sides. On the sides here, Yarbo's been forward thinking their entire time they've been building their units. And on the sides, there's power and data ports on the sides of these things to hook up different accessories that Yarbo's working on. One of those accessories, as I mentioned before, is the trimmer. So they have been working on a string trimmer, a weed eater, if you want to call it that attaches to this, because one of the main issues that robot lawnmowers have is they can't get right up against a tree or sidewalk sometimes. So you always end up with a little gap. By adding the trimmer onto this, they'll be able to catch those things. So it's really cool. They're thinking about stuff like that when they're developing their products. I really love that. On the top here, you also have a rain sensor. So you can have this set up so it won't mow if it has been raining outside, so it won't damage your yard. So that's really nice. Yeah, so that's that part of it. On the back, it does have rubber sheets on the back here, which is nice because it'll actually kind of help with getting you nice lines in your yard. So if you're going for that manicured lined lawn, this will help do that. Right here is where it all connects to the back, or connects to the front of your Yarbo core. So here's your data port that connects to the front. We got locks on the top to help keep it in place, and then points at the bottom so it can adjust it. So let's go ahead and switch it over this pops off easily, little button on the bottom, undo our secure cable on the back, set that off to the side, move this. So as I mentioned, the core weighs about 100 pounds. This weighs about 40. So this is not a light unit. If moving this around, if you think you have to pick this up and move it a lot, it may not be a good choice for you. But we get our bottom put on, connect our top, get it ready. Get on there. Open our locks, push it on, latch it on, good to go. This Yarbo core with the mower. So once you connect it, the mower or the core starts to check it through the data cable to see what module is attached. When you attach the smart module, it knows what it is and it knows what functions to put available to you in the app. Same thing with the mower, sets that all up for you. So it's really, really cool. Let's jump into the app and talk about some of the features you can do with this mower. So the Yarbo app handles a lot. It is a fully featured app, gives you tons of control over the mower, and it's as fully featured as it is because the mower and the module can do so much, and they've programmed so many features into this that it really gives you a ton of flexibility and options on how you want to maintain your yard and use the system as it's intended. So let's jump in here in the app, see what we got going on. So once you get it set up, you're gonna get everything put together and add it to the app. The app walks you through the process. It's really simple. They've done a great job of setting that up. But once it's in, you're gonna select your mower or your setup. You may not have the mower on it, right? So get it set up and it's gonna give you your charge status, your Bluetooth status, Wi-Fi. It's also got cellular. So it's got tons of stuff. I'll show you the reference center in a moment because a lot of mowers use an RTK system, which is just the antenna to help it position itself and communicate with the mower. Yarbo's gone even farther because this thing is ready to cut up to 6 acres. So it's gonna have a lot of area to cover, and you have a great system that's gonna help with those types of things, and that's what this does. So I'll show you that in a moment. But you get in here, you see your status, you see your charge state, and you got whether you start mowing into your yard and you got control. So let's look at the control first. So you hop in there, you unlock it, and this is the advanced controller I call from the app. There's another setting I'll show you later if it's mowing where you can adjust it and move it from there. And this can be a basic dial to move it forward and back. This one actually gives you the ability to pause the mower, set it to recharge, clear any errors are on, start the blade and mow it manually using the controllers here, turn all your lights off, side lights. You can adjust the speed and your cutting height all from this view. And this is really, really nice. I love this view. You got a side angle here. So whatever's most comfortable for you, Yarbo gives you those options. So you got that. You can enter your yard and see your different maps you've got set up. Maps are done just like most other mowers. Is if you wanted to add an area to your map, you're going to go in and edit, hit add, and hit your area. And you're gonna drive it to where you want it to go, hit start, complete your path, and it'll put it all together. Once that's done, you can also come in here and create no-go zones. So areas if you've got, you can see on my map here, these red dots, those are no-go zones. So I've got a patch of trees and some tall grass. I don't want the mower going there. So I just draw a little circle around it, keeps away. You're gonna need to create a pathway to connect the different mowing areas, and so you can get back to the charging pad. So that's what those are for. So your docking stations, areas you don't want the cameras to be on because maybe it's gonna be mowed by your neighbor's yard and you don't want it to have the cameras on for your neighbor as a privacy feature. So that's really great that they do that. You can also come in here and edit all those things as well for your previously set up areas, mowing areas, no-go zones, things like that. You can go in and edit those, so that's really nice. With that set up, you can enter your yard, hit start, so you can set up schedules for it as well. So if you want to have it mow a certain area, certain time of day or certain days, you can set all that up. You can have it mow multiple areas on a schedule. So if you want it to mow your backyard, when it's done with that, go to the front, you can set all that up. So it's really, really flexible and gives you lots of ways that you can manage how your yard is maintained. Once we go into an area, so we can edit the map and select a zone. And within that area, when you first set up, you'll do all this initially, but you can always go back in and change it. So Yarbo's obstacle avoidance uses the cameras and the sensors to do all that. And it's got different levels of avoidance, and you kind of see, depending on your yard type, and you can change these for each zone. So it isn't just a blanket across your entire yard. So each area, you can set that up and change what you want. You can set up boundary obstacle avoidance. You can change your mowing heights, target heights, what I was talking about if you wanted to mow an area from you know, if it's 6 inches tall, you want it to be 3 inches, that's where that target is gonna be. They have different mowing patterns, so you can do parallel lines, checkerboard, so it'll get crisscross for you, diamond and spiral, so it gives you some options there, kind of some fun ways to mow your yard and make it look different. There's our different turning modes we talked about, how much you want to overlap of the different paths. So as it goes through, does one line, it comes back the other way, how much you want it to overlap that path, so you want to guarantee it doesn't miss any areas. So you can set up how far that overlap is. You can change how far it turns at each mowing. Each time it mows, it'll rotate its path a little bit. You can adjust that. Module gap is this right here. So this is how much of a gap it is between, and they kind of explain, I love how they explain to you the difference in each setting and why you might want to do that. So you can set those things up as well. Whether you want to mow the area first or you want to mow around the outside first, change all that. How many laps you want to make. Like it's wild how many settings they give you in here and the ways you can adjust your mowing paths. So that's that part, that's the mowing. In your Yarbo settings, you got your data center settings, which I said we'll talk about here in just a moment. That is what is used to help communicate everything to the Yarbo so it knows where it is and knows where it's supposed to go, takes care of all that stuff for us. Working preferences is where you can set up how fast it goes, how long when it stops mowing and goes back to charger and starts mowing again, smart turn, rollover detection, lift detection, rain detection. All that is in there. There's a lot to go on in here. So we can go on and on through the app settings, but let's jump out of that. And that's pretty much it. Like Yarbo's done a great job of setting this up and giving you lots of flexibility in ways you can use this system. And it's a beast, to say the least. Let's go in and talk about a few of the things I'd like to see changed with this system and some of the pros and cons that I've run into in testing this for the past month. Well, I'd like to say that the Yarbo is perfect and my most favorite outdoor equipment ever. It's not entirely true. I gotta be honest with you, it is a very expensive system. It is very robust and has a ton of potential, but it also has a lot of areas for improvement. In my testing, I've had to have the core replaced once. I've replaced the antennas probably 4 or 5 different times. So there have been some issues with the system as a whole and in some of its performance. Mowing, it does a great job. Once it goes out and starts mowing, if it's in an area and it's got it figured out and there's not a lot of obstacles, it does well. It mows beautiful lawn. It does a great job, no complaints there. It is hit and miss on how well it notices an obstacle and whether it is something it can go through or it shouldn't. There are times when the grass, you know, there'll be a patch of grass that happened to grow faster than the rest of the grass in the yard, whether it's got weeds in it or whatever. And the yard will be, 4 or 5 inches tall, and there'll be a random spot of grass where there'll be a clump of maybe 1 foot by 1 foot wide, and it'll be 6 or 7 inches. And the Yarbo will get stuck and say there's an obstacle it can't get around. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And that's when that smart beta camera feature comes in where I can see what it's at and tell it to go anyways, whatever. So that's been an issue. I've had some connectivity issues where it will say it doesn't have GPS, even though it's in the middle of a wide open field. So that's run into a few times. Probably the biggest issue I've had though has been these antennas. I don't understand. So this antenna is part of the Halo antenna. So this is what helps it with, so Halo is kind of it's a long range, low frequency Wi-Fi signal that can allow this thing to be a long ways away from the base station, reference station as they call it, and still to communicate with it to have what it needs to know as far as where to go and what it's supposed to be doing. So it helps with all that. These antennas are the RTK for location and GPS. This is, you see, it's a floppy antenna. This right here is a solid antenna and it catches on things, and I've had it break off so many times. I don't know why they're not soft. So either make them floppy and make them flexible, or give the Yarbo a better sense of its height, because it breaks off because I've caught it going around a tree. It has a little bit of a lean and it'll go underneath the tree and it will catch the antenna and snap it off. I've had it catch on branches and I've watched them break, and sometimes I'll just get a notification. All right, sorry about the change. I'm not sure what happened there. The camera stopped recording, so I gotta come back and redo this a little bit for you. So, like I was saying, the antenna, I'm not sure what's going on. They break off. I really wish they were flexible or there's some other changes to it. I did actually find, I'll find the link and I'll link it in the video description. But somebody designed antenna support covers kind of things. And so I 3D printed these and they just slide over and they're actually slanted. So they fit along the side of the siding here and they just give it extra support. So I just got them, just put them on. I haven't actually used them yet, so I don't know how well they do or don't work, but I'll put them on there and I'll test it for a little bit. And if I have issues or not, I'll report back with a short or something like that, let you guys know. But so that's the antennas. The other thing is, so back to talking about the recognition, and sometimes you'll see grass and not know if it should or shouldn't go through it. I've also had issues where it thinks there's an object in the way and it is completely clear, there's nothing around it. I'll check the cameras and sensors, they're all wiped clean, but it'll think that there's an object in the way and it can't go, that something's got in its way, a car got parked in the way or somebody standing there won't move, and it just stops. I'll clear it. Sometimes I've even driven it, backed it up and kind of rearranged it a little bit and hit go, and it still thinks there's an object in the way. So there's some software glitches that I really hope Yarbo can sort out with this. You know, it'll think that something's there and it won't be there. And other times I've had it literally just run into a tree, like right in the middle of its path, completely clear, nothing around it, and just right up the tree. So it needs some tweaking. There's some software issues I think that we need some work on, but you know, outside of that, it does a good job when it doesn't have those weird glitches. I mean, I love that I can send this out and I know it can tackle almost any terrain, any grass type. The Pro will add even more to that. So outside of that, I mean, it's a solid unit. It has some software glitches. From a hardware and engineering standpoint, this thing it's crazy how much it can do. The software still needs some tweaks and some refinements, I think, to kind of dial in a little bit more of the object recognition. Some hardware issues with the GPS stuff I'd like to see fixed on those antennas, but otherwise, it's a solid device. So let's talk about that reference station real quick. So this is Yarbo's reference station. So this unit here is similar to like what you get if you've used any other robot mowers that have an RTK antenna, except this one doesn't connect using Wi-Fi. So this one has to be hardwired in. This is a change from a previous model where they did use Wi-Fi, but they switched to using power over Ethernet. So you got a PoE system here. So you don't have to run a power cable, you just run your Ethernet cable and they provide you with all the parts. It comes with a PoE injector and everything you need to get Ethernet and a power to this unit. By doing that, they give a stable internet connection. It's gonna be faster, and it helps to power the Halo system and other parts of this that help to keep the Yarbo core unit engaged and knowing where it's supposed to be at. So this is all set up. They send you the pole, they give you tons of Ethernet cable, they give you different hardware. So this can be mounted on a stand in the ground like I have it here, or you can mount it on the rooftop or the edge of a home or something like that with the hardware they provide to you. So they do a good job of giving you all that. They give you all the waterproof connections, lots of Ethernet cable. I had an accident and accidentally lowered my cable over and had to switch it something else, but back up and running. So that's really great. They give you all that stuff here. There's grounded points and everything, all the antennas. So this is the reference station. Pretty simple, easy to set up. The Ethernet issue could be an issue for some people, having to run Ethernet to it to run it and power it could be a problem. But outside of that, it's a pretty simple setup, easy to use. Once it's plugged in, it does all the stuff for you. You're ready to go. So this is the Yarbo. The Yarbo core, Yarbo mowing. So in the end, would I recommend this to somebody who lives in town and has a standard quarter-acre lot or something like that? No, it's gonna be too much. It's gonna tear up the yard. It's gonna be a mess. If you've got a large property, you got a couple acres and it isn't a super complex, yard, if you got a lot of gardens and sidewalks and areas that could be sensitive, you don't want to get torn up. This may be something else to avoid as well. The tracks on this can get a little bit aggressive, and if the yard's wet at all, you can tear it up. Even in smart turn mode, it can be a little bit aggressive on the grass. So I don't recommend if you've got a complex shaped yard. But if you've got a wide open space and this has got area to kind of maneuver itself around to make those turns, and you've got a variety of grasses to cut, you've got large patches of grass that need cut, this can handle it. It's got the power to handle it all. It's got the range to do it. It's got the durability. It's got if you've got steep grades to crawl up, it can do hills really well. So it is a highly capable device. But as I said in the improvement section, there's just a few things that still need tightened up, primarily in the software place. Like I said, we got the antenna guards here, so I'll report back on those, but the antennas is a hardware situation, so I hope that there can be a resolution for that soon. And I have no doubt that Yarbo is gonna solve this. Yarbo has been quickly iterating and continuing to improve. There's been a bunch of software updates since I've had the unit. From what Yarbo started out to what it is now, the company is continuing to evolve, and I have no doubts that it will reach out and fix those. They're continuing to work with community members, so I'm looking forward to see how this thing continues to improve. So if you've got a bunch of property you need mowed and you've got some interesting terrain to deal with, this is going to be able to handle it. So stick around. Like I said, this is going to be a part of a series. I've got the Pro Mower coming up. We're getting close to fall, so I'll have the leaf blower section, the snow blower come winter time. So hopefully when the trimmer gets ready, I'll have that for you as well. But for For now, this is what we got. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I've got another mower coming up, a review for that, and a few other devices I'm looking forward to testing for you guys. So make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification so you don't miss anything, and look forward to seeing the next one. Thanks for sticking around.
Okay, let's go.